back like, he must have been 300 pounds. I was like, Jesus Christ, look at the size of that guy. Walks by and he kind of looks back at me, and I'm wearing glasses and everything. Michael's on the phone, and I'm like, oh, why is he looking at me? He gives me this sort of funny look, right? And he's staring at me, and he keeps on walking, and I'm like, okay, well, that's a little weird. I don't know this 300-pound man, and why is he staring at me? Anyway, he goes in the washroom, and he comes out aggressively, and I notice, because I'm standing in there, I'm just thinking about the big man who was giving me the funny look, and he comes straight at me, and he's got this look on his face, and he's doing this, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. I got a cell phone in my hand, and I think I dropped it, or at least I stuffed it in my back pocket, kind of turned my body sideways. I'm like, I don't know, maybe if I could poke him in the eye or punch him in the throat, or maybe I'll throw Truco at him. Truco's on the phone, you know what I mean? And he comes up to me, and he walks right up to my face, and he goes, are you Hilo? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, yes, man. He's like, take off the glasses. So I take off the glasses, and he goes, it's you, man, Jesus, I love that show. And he's like, he's spitting at me, and he's pointing in my face, and I'm like, I'm looking up at him, literally, and I'm like, okay, man, just take it easy. Jeez, you scared the shit out of me. Stop pointing at me. Anyway, I mean, this has happened to me twice now. I had this happen in Vancouver, but yeah, it is big black men. They like to approach me in this way. Put the fear in me.
So, hi, guys. One of the keys to Battlestar Galactica's success is the fact it's a character drama and a character-driven story. Have you guys explored all of, let me ask this the right way, have you guys feel that you've explored your characters to all the corners that you wanted to see? Have you covered all the stuff? I know some of you are just learning some new things about your characters, but have you explored all the aspects of your character that you wanted to explore?
Have you explored all the facets of yourself?
No.
No. That, in a word, no, I wouldn't think so, because every day you wake up, something different happens, and you're faced with a new challenge, and how are you going to react to it? And it brings about different reactions from your personality, things that you never thought you would do. And the more extreme the situation, you might fall back on your regular patterns, or you might go in a different direction and choose to change your reaction to this situation that's come up many, many times. Maybe this is the day that you go off in a different way. And our show is great because the writers, I mean, Ron Moore and his staff are absolutely outstanding, and that's what keeps it interesting, because you don't know how how these characters are going to react. I have no idea how the chief is going to react to the same situation. Something that happened yesterday happens again today. He might go this way instead of that way, and the writers keep us guessing, and they keep the audience guessing. And in my opinion, that's where it begins. Why it's such a great show, and Harvey Frand, of course.
I mean, I have felt that. I have felt that there are certain repetitive elements, certainly to my character and the way he reacts to things. And you put him into more awkward positions, but basically he's constantly trying to get out from under a shadow that his dad offers, and he comes up with different ways of doing that, and he evolves. And then, but that is the challenge. And I think some characters have that as an issue, and I've definitely felt that in each and every season, that there's what's different this year, what we have to try, and it's a push and it's a struggle to find that. But I think particularly last year we managed it, and this year, who knows? You know, I personally sit here and I'm just so glad that I don't have to write all the episodes, because I wouldn't know what to do with my character. I think I would leave them and concentrate on the other guys around me who have got really interesting things going on. But I have found that as a struggle doing this. I've never done this series this many years before, and there is a certain, you know, I think in life, you know, people do tend to repeat in sort of patterns of behavior. I think we are who we are, and our makeup is established, and I think that's why, with this character anyway, that he rings quite true, because he doesn't act out of character too often, and when he does, it causes him pangs of conscience, and it puts him into, you know, difficult positions where he has to re-examine who he is and trying to equate that with who he's become. So I think that, you know, for me, that's definitely been the battle each year, is exactly what you've just sort of described.
I've always teased Grace that it doesn't matter what she goes on to, whether she becomes a huge movie star, what have you. I mean, she's covered the spectrum. She's been murdered multiple times, raped, beaten, ostracized. I mean, she's done it all.
Yeah,
it's been
had a
done.
baby, tortured, manipulated, lied,
exactly.
Assassinated. There's been, but I think I've had the blessing of being able to be in a lot of the characters, being in a lot of situations. So you are able, through those actions, and because of them, your behaviors are reflected and refracted and shown through those things. But I think, like Jamie was saying, as a character, you will keep going back to your default behaviors or values, because that's who your makeup is until there's too much pain that is caused by that. Then that will beg a change.
And this year, one of the boomers is a tall German man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you really will have covered the spectrum by the time you're done.
Michael, my question's for you, because we don't get to hear from you very often. But so thank you for taking the time to come here and talk to us.
Got here as soon as I could.
But can you just tell us, how do you feel about your character and being a Cylon in the finale? I mean, you probably have the reason to hate the Cylons more than anybody on the show, or your character does. How did you feel about that?
Well, I've always thought to myself, I don't know if I've said it out loud, I must have that I'm sure I'm glad I'm not playing a Cylon. And so I guess I must have said it out loud. I'm not happy about being a Cylon at all, but I don't imagine any of us who are been picked to be Cylons are happy about it. But the scripts and what we've been doing so far, you've been here for a while, you got the hang of it. The scripts we've had so far are great, and the only way that I can deal with it is as a human being. And so far, that's all I've had to do. And I'm not sure what's going on. It's really, for Ty, so far, it is like a mental illness. It's like the ringing in the ears and visions, and one constantly wondering what's going on. So almost in every scene you do now, it's that thing where you're thinking one thing. If you've had a personal tragedy happen to you, and then you got to carry on with life, you kind of realize, isn't this amazing that I'm actually talking to people, but this is all going on inside. So
I have to say that, I think a big driver of this first half of season 4, without question, has been to see how these 4 characters deal with this whole switch up in who they are and what it does to each of them in a very, very different, unique way, and how some of them deny it completely and how some of them embrace it as a blessing. And that has been fascinating just in terms of seeing where David and Ron have taken those characters.
I had a quick question, more or less about, I guess, the popularity of the show, where it seems that the audience, it's a very specific audience, and a lot of times that does take away from accolades that maybe you guys should be looking at, like Emmys or other things where you do get Peabodys and everything else. I mean, is that something you guys think about? Is that, do you think about, man, this would be great, for the hard work that we're doing, that this could result in, at least some kind of Emmy recognition or some kind of, recognition, where it seems like the Emmys are becoming more of a popularity contest than about the arts sometimes?
I'd rather have a Peabody than an Emmy any day.
The greatest strides in makeup and special effects have been made in horror and sci-fi genre, and they've been completely ignored throughout the history of award shows, so I don't really care.
I mean, that's for other people to decide. We just, you come to work and you do the work, and then, would we like more people to watch the show? Yeah, sure. That would have enabled us to, do things really on our own terms in a way that, sometimes we've had to compromise, I think. And so it comes down to that for me anyway. Those awards are extraneous sort of paraphernalia that come with the success that you need. You need viewers, and you need people to watch the show, and we do have a hardcore following. But I think our viewership is actually much more diverse than people make out. The most vocal fans and viewers are the hardcore sci-fi fans, but just from knowing and meeting so many different people across walks of life, there is no Battlestar Galactica type. And yeah, personally, I have regrets about the show not having reached a wider audience. But an Emmy would have helped. But God only knows, Bonnie and Sci-Fi and Dave, you've all tried damn hard to get one. So there's no sense in which we